Traumathon 5. Sever.
During the late 90s, Cartoon Network saw a rise of new viewers as their channel grew by the month. CN wanted to go even further by offering Action Center cartoons and anime to their audience via a new programming block called Toonami. The first host of Toonami was Moltar, but seldom anyone ever really remembers him, and that's likely because, well, he was sort of eclipsed by his successor, Tom, a chubby little homo that loves anime and hosting shows. Neat. The audience could really feel at home with Tom and his spaceship, the Absolution, as we got more and more familiar with his personality and his hologram AI sidekick, Sarah. Things felt homier with Tom as the host, feeling really chill. It had a real just chill vibe to it, and that's sort of the crux as to why Toonami was so successful. Let's face it, the real reason so many of us were hooked on Toonami was the simple fact that it was cool, and I mean that by every definition. It had cool beats, it had cool aesthetics, it had a cool host. CG animation and cartoons were also rare back then, so the style was cool, and Tom just was cool himself. And of course, there was the centerpiece of it all, the anime, which at the time was slowly being introduced to the West. Previously though, anime was mostly word of mouth. You'd go to a VHS store and see these weird cartoons you never heard of, and sometimes you can't even pronounce, but you notice it looks different. It attracts your eyes, and you buy it, and oh shit, it's hentai. Okay. Now with Toonami, anime was rocketed to the mainstream pretty quickly, especially mainstays like Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon, which only solidified the cool factor that Toonami was running on. Yeah, shit was dope for a while. But things changed. During an airing of Toonami in the year 2000, they began promoting an event that was going to occur on September 18th called
The Intruder, a week-long Toonami event where you affect the outcome.
Thanks, Peter Cullen. It was part of Toonami's new experimental miniseries type endeavor, which they called the Total Immersion Event, or TIEs. These TIEs would prove to be a chance for Toonami to get audience participations in small, fun ways. It usually involves a small minigame that the audience can participate in and has a grand prize that a lucky few viewers can win. It was a way to get more people watching. Not that Toonami was doing bad at this point or anything like that, but it certainly helped boost ratings for the block when the first tie was happening. And let me tell you, the first tie, The Intruder, it was a fucking memorable one and a real spooky miniseries too. So let's talk about it. Huge shoutouts, by the way, to SlimD716 for re-uploading the entire miniseries in fucking crisp as shit 4K 60 FPS. I'm sorry, I really need to mention how good this looks. Dude, I remember this short looking like shit when I was a kid. Like, all my memories of this event when it happened look exactly like this. In reality, it was probably worse, because I was a bastard. I put magnets on my CRT because I like the pretty colors. It's astounding how good this holds up and looks fucking clean and sleek. Like, I swear, this looks better than most video games nowadays. I'm not even kidding. I mean, seriously, have you seen some of the... Go watch the original video after you're done watching this. Seriously, it's so beautiful. Anyways, let's get back on track. In episode 1, Tom is seen casually talking to Sarah, being very jovial, making jokes, when she warns him of an intruder on board. Tom takes it pretty lightly, doesn't really think much of it, until he sees that the intruder breached the hull. Episode 2, Tom further investigates with his cute little gun. Seriously, what a fucking cute dork. I love you so much, you pot-bellied Tom. Then he finds a room with no lights, and then, without warning, Tom is knocked the fuck out by this thing. We soon learn in episode 3 that the intruder is this red blob thing that has no real form or shape but knows only how to eat, and it's constantly growing and always hungry. Tom and Sarah don't really know what it is or what it really wants, but they do know that it needs to be stopped immediately. That's when we reach episode 4. Ooh. I should mention first that though I may be paraphrasing each episode and sort of getting the important details out there, the miniseries thus far has had a very eerie vibe to it. There's this air of mystery abound with the intruder's existence, and we, as the audience, the dumb kids that we are, don't really know what's happening or what's going to happen. We're constantly intrigued by what is going on and eagerly waiting for the next episode. Each part shows us small amounts of info, and if you were one of the kids that were participating in the Flash game, you'd also see a part of the story most wouldn't see, and that's a side story featuring the Clydes and how they're constantly being consumed by the intruder, and it's up to you, the bigger brother Clyde thing, to save them. This Flash game, by the way, was apparently hard as fuck, but I wouldn't know, I never played it. So I felt personally that this miniseries succeeded in being immersive. It was a series that got you at the edge of your seat, waiting to see what happens next, and I really need to mention this. Toonami itself was a rarity in TV programming. Like, there really weren't that many CG cartoons during this time, even CG cartoon movies. I think the only ones that existed at this point that were big budgeted were Toy Story and A Bug's Life. As for animated cartoon shows, I mean, I'm trying to remember here. There was like Beast Wars, Reboot. That was a fantastic show, by the way. Everyone should watch that. Donkey Kong Country, Roly Poly Oly, and I think that's about it, actually. I'm sure there's more, but my point is that it was a developing thing, and Toonami was just a short programming block that occasionally showed Tom and the Absolution. It was easily done. I mean, it looked great, but it didn't really need much technical know-how. It just needed to be done for that one specific reason, which was to just show a few minutes of animation. Yet this was their true foray into being an animated series, and it is beautifully executed, as you can see here. It was different, and it was engaging, and small details here and there made the short series feel alive. But the most important detail to all of this is that most of us had known Tom for about a year or so now at this point, and to a kid, that's a long time. So knowing all of that, the suspense being built up, the beautiful animation, the connections we as the audience had not only with the shorts, but with Tom as a character, it all led to probably the most traumatic and genuinely terrifying deaths in any animated short I had ever seen as a kid. Check it out. That is fucked. Tom literally screams in agony as he is corroded alive. His final appearance shows his decaying hand and the wires exposed and the hand full of rust in a matter of seconds. It's super scary. And it makes it all the scarier when you realize that kids, again, had grown an attachment for the little guy. Everyone watched Toonami growing up. Well, everyone who had cable anyways. And it was hard to miss since it showed up every single day on Cartoon Network, except for Sundays, of course. We as kids loved Tom. We loved Toonami. And yet, he just dies. Discarded. Just sort of gone. For good. But, I mean, you know, he's the main character, you think. He really can't be dead, right? Main characters don't die, right?
Tom is dead.
Thanks, Peter Cullen. This is a core memory for me, or I don't know what that means. I just kind of hear it from TikTok users anyways. But yeah, dude, I remember coming back home, turning on the TV, watching some stuff, and then I saw episode 4 pop up. And as soon as Tom died, and that whole ending sequence happened, I heard this.
Tom is dead.
They confirm that Tom died so hard, but it's so funny, like seconds as soon as you saw that, they show this promo and just straight up said, yeah, Tom's dead. But it's okay, Tom 2's around the corner, so it's totally fine. Yeah, so Tom 2 was pretty much the main reason this whole event was made. At least it sort of seems like that. It seemed like they were pretty eager to have Steve Blum just voice the new Tom, and they probably wanted to get rid of the old Tom's designs anyways, you know, because he didn't really fit the cool vibes anymore. It sort of clashes what they were going for. So they had a sleek, cool body for the new Tom and a nice black navy blue kind of look, and it looks pretty cool. So after Tom is revived, which would be the first of several times that'll happen in Toonami's history, Tom 2 gets to work. He severs the engine and eliminates the intruder once and for all. And once that happens, the audience gets to choose the new engine for the Absolution. And the people ultimately voted for the Talon ST fulfilling the quote-unquote outcome that kept getting mentioned during the tie. Yeah, I figured there was a way to maybe get a good ending where Tom doesn't die. I used to think that for about a couple years, but realistically, these were coming out daily, and there's no way they animated that many different outcomes, so I'm assuming this is the only thing that the audience had any control over. And I tried looking it up. I tried to see if maybe the Flash games tied into something else and you could change some outcomes here and there, but no, it seems like the voting was pretty much the only thing that audience members could do. So Tom was destined to die. But it's okay. Once you were done voting for that shit, you could have participated in winning the grand prize, and that being winning a free trip to Japan and getting to visit Nintendo HQ. Yeah, seriously, apparently you could have just gone to Nintendo HQ and been a quote-unquote playtester for the day. And so concludes an admittedly fun miniseries that happened for 1 week on the first fall of the new millennia. You just had to be there. Nothing can describe the feeling of watching that happen as it happened. And since then, Toonami had done several ties, some more involving than others, and others being weirder than some. But The Intruder lives on as one of the most memorable ties Toonami had ever done. It's so popular, in fact, that they made 2 sequels to The Intruder. In the sequel, Tom 1 actually comes back fused with The Intruder itself. It's pretty grim, but rad as fuck. And as for the third one, well, you should check it out for yourself, honestly. The fact of the matter is, though, the first Intruder is symbolic of Toonami itself. Things change. Sometimes the things we grew up with don't last forever, and Toonami died at some point, but it was revived back to life, and now it's growing stronger, and still pulling off these ties now and again to the thrill of its now aging audience that still shows its passion and love for this small programming block. Toonami is as strong as its viewers are interested, and they're so passionate and interested, they have kept this series going on since its revival longer than it's been alive before on Cartoon Network. And it doesn't seem like Toonami's slowing down anytime soon. So sometimes the things you love while going away can sometimes change and become something new, something better, and something that can be with you and love you for so much longer.